I know this is hard to believe, but Claritin, this is a generic Claritin, or I'm assuming other histamine blockers over the shelf. I was suggested Claritin by my NP. I don't know if she realized that Hashimoto's releases histamines, which these are histamine blockers. I have chronic rhinitis, which is a lot of histamine, and it can cause a lot of serious damage down the road because the bacteria in my nose can end up, it causes bacteria, and it can end up leading to your lungs and further damage. So it's really important to take care of it. And I supposedly don't have any allergies. I'm not 100% sure because I had a really short allergy test done that just did the major allergens. So I'm trying to get a more full, in-depth one. But as of it stands now, I have chronic rhinitis either from my Hashimoto's and or my 2 deviated septum. So I chose Claritin because my NP suggested it, and it seemed the most less invasive. And though it hit my head, and I kind of thought it would, not very good, I also have hypoxic encephalopathy, which is I have some nerve fibers in my head damaged from anesthesia. So I have a very, very sensitive nervous system. So it did hit me not very invitingly. I can put this down now. But I hadn't eaten either. So I took a couple bites of an avocado, and then all of a sudden, wham, it started hitting me. I started coming back. And like I talk a lot about coming back because there's a lot of brain fog in my brain damage that I talked about with the nerve fibers. And Hashimoto's gives you a lot of brain fog, which I never really noticed, but maybe I just didn't notice. So I'm thinking all these years with the hypoxic encephalopathy and then Hashimoto's, as far as the brain fog is considered, I'm kind of shocked at how much I haven't been there. And like when I got diagnosed with the Hashimoto's, which was about 8 years after I got injured by anesthesia during surgery to the hypoxic encephalopathy, I hadn't noticed any extra. Well, I don't think I even had brain fog. I mean, the initial few years, certainly I had brain fog. I couldn't fight for what I needed to after I was hurt during surgery. But then after that, I didn't. It was more all the permanent deficits. But I didn't notice brain fog from Hashimoto's. But, I'm wondering, maybe we just don't notice because I was a mom. I was a single mom, kind of on the run all the time, trying to get things done in situations in my life. So I just didn't notice. But I notice definitely now, especially with, the chronic rhinitis and then the fatigue syndrome. I think that's what's really been bringing me down to the fatigue syndrome is the chronic rhinitis. If you can imagine your head's constantly filled and then you're not breathing right. And I didn't even realize I had 2 deviated septums. How could I not know that? Of course, I felt a cracked bone in the middle of my nose, which is how I might have gotten it. Lord knows who punched me, and we suppose there's a lot of variations where that could have come from. Now there's a lump there. But I didn't even feel that until after I started all these medicines from all these doctors recently. Even though they made me sick, you can see the swelling. If you've followed me, the swelling in my nose can go up and down. It always did since I was a kid. So I just assumed, well, maybe I was allergic to something, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So I don't know what that was all about. But anyhow, you can see it now again, and it's gone down like a whole lot. You can see my actual nose instead of it being like a lot bigger. So, anyway, I could feel that bone in the middle there. So, that was shocking. I had so much fluids and stuff going through my head, which I've talked about, possible abuse, and the doctors even talked to me about very mild cracks that, a lot of people live with it. They cause sinus cavities in the head, and I've complained about that many times. And I talked about there's no serious fluids in there. I was tested for that. But the fact is, it still remains that you've got this miserable sense of congestion and runniness. And I've always ignored it. And Flonase was fine. It just got to the point that, it was a lot of tissues in the morning. And I said, this is crazy. There's got to be something wrong. So sure enough, I got chronic rhinitis. But my head, like what I'm getting down to is, I give you the whole story and like the punchline, but my head just really came back again. Now, I don't know if I can compare that, but I said, I love being there and being in control of my brain. It's like the number one thing for me. So I thought, oh my God, she's back. Like I felt that second. Now, actually, I'm waiting for my body to go into fatigue again, and it's not going there. Now, this pill is a little wonky on me. Even though it's not going into fatigue, I can feel it kind of taking me down this wonky path a little bit. So it might not be the right one for me, but there's a couple others I'll try, and the fact remains that a histamine for an autoimmune disease. I mean, I don't know if people even realize that this is something that could be really, really helpful if you're having a lot of drainage, and it can be extremely annoying. And I'll list the AI generated list of autoimmune diseases I found that causes histamine. So, out of all the years I've had Hashimoto's, I never once knew that it had anything to do with histamine. I mean, we're talking before I even knew how to send an email on a computer was I diagnosed. I mean, I did not know anything about it, never had a doctor talk to me about it. I mean, that last NP I saw was the first person that talked to me about anything of it. And when she said Claritin, I'm thinking, when she said I don't have allergies, I really don't want to take it. I didn't go so far into it as to saying, well, gee, I don't have any allergies. So I'm thinking, I really don't want to take something that could hurt my liver without having a condition. She said, oh, I know. So we did test for the allergies, but when I went online and I learned, I think one of the other doctors, and I didn't really know what they were talking about. They said a lot of it may be Hashimoto's, and I did talk to the NP. I said, you know, a lot of them say from the Hashimoto's, some things that I'm feeling or going through, which leads me back to you. Now that I think about it, I don't know if she was connecting the histamine to it or not, but she didn't seem to know what they were talking about. Or maybe it was the chronic fatigue, and now there's not a lot she can do because you can't really treat Hashimoto's, which was hard for me to swallow, because what it is what they're doing when they give you medicine is they're just taking care of the symptoms, and they don't usually even treat you until you go into hypothyroidism, which what I really think, and I wrote an article on autoimmune diseases, probably didn't get into it as in depth as this medically, but I really think what they should be doing is, you know, if they're not going to give you anything because you're not in hypothyroidism, there's many other ways they can help you. I mean, I go on the web and find out that you can take a histamine blocker to help with those annoying runny noses that in my case, and you know, many other women's cases. Why is it just my case? It's not just my case. You know how many women have been smacked and knocked around? And I'm not trying to get into an abuse video, but people in general. I mean, you know, a lot of us have had our heads, you know, accidentally banged into something, we fell off of something. I really think these are conversations we need to have with our patients. Why is it autoimmune diseases are off the table? Why don't doctors want to discuss these helpful hints with us? So as I find more, I don't believe in these, you know, ketos and paleo diets, because, I mean, we need these nutrients. I mean, if you have celiac disease, you know, I support the gluten-free. I'm all for it. But why should we, if we're not allergic to wheat and gluten and everything, why should we have to eliminate such vital nutrients from our body? I tried that for a year or two. I've tried sugar. I tried the whole thing. I've read over 100 books. I've watched a DVD integrative course with Mimi Guarineri, and I'm not going to say her name right, from Scripps. And, you know, all of it was extremely interesting. I took the bits and pieces that I could take, and I even tried some of the keto. I tried some of the paleo. Honestly, I just ended up feeling starved at the end of the year. I mean, my body is used to having wheat. I did omit red meat because I have breast tissue density, and now that helps me from one year to the next. That just omitted that. Now, I really, I find that very helpful, that I have that knowledge, and that I was, you know, that I took that initiative and I did that. But why we're not giving more information as to more conclusive things that we can do. Now, I just bought an over-the-counter supplement for my Hashimoto's. I'll link that below too, that I found very helpful. Now, I don't take two. I don't always take everything because of my nervous system. I don't always take the full amount of what they tell you to take on the package. I usually start with, like, if they tell you to take 2 a day, I'll start with 1, which I did for this one, and I only take 1. But I understand that's a naturopathic thing, but they always check for me what vitamins and supplements I take when I go in there. It's like, you want to know, like even a vitamin, there's some vitamin B12 is supposed to be really good. Selenium's good. If they ask you, gee, they want to know what vitamins you take, and they'll go home and tell you to take some vitamin D or C. Why can't they tell you to take those for your autoimmune disease? I mean, it's a start. And then it has you into researching more. Gee, there's things I can do to feel better. Not, no, I can't help you. My first endo I went to, I felt like personally attacked. No, I can't help you. Like you're pushing me. Even my NP, like recently, she was just like almost wanting to roll her eyes, like leave me alone kind of thing. Like, I'm only going to go into it so far. And I thought, what is this? Like, I'm not saying I was raped, right? Like, I wasn't raped and got Hashimoto's. Now, I know how I think I got it. It's more in depth and personal, but I never met this person, I mean, does word go around, like, how I think I might have got something like that? I don't think so, And I go on TikTok, everybody says the same thing. Do you need, like, antidepressants? Is there something wrong with you? There's real symptoms with these things, Anyway, I'm going to share with you when I find things. So if you have any histamine issues, I didn't know what that all meant. So if your nose is really runny and you're having problems that way, you're stuffy and just miserable that way, research if your particular autoimmune would do good with a histamine blocker. Check with your medical person. Believe it or not, they might give you an answer. So I'll list the other ones below, and I'll list the oh, actually, this is just equate for my thyroid supplement I started taking. What I was gonna say is, yeah, if you research online, I would take this into your hands too. Sometimes, just make sure you get credited sites. Sometimes I just use the AI because, like, I can kind of tell if it's off. Because a lot of times, I did a lot of research in college. I went back to college when I was 50, so they really pushed on the accredited sites, and then when I did a podcast even before that, I made sure that I really checked into my material. But I get a lot of Mayo Clinic and NCBI, which is the government, which, believe it or not, they will tell you more than what they actually put out there that's safe. But, and Medical News Today, I love, what is it, Health something online. I don't remember now because last one I used Medical News. But you'll be able to tell. Credited magazines that they'll have the reporters are highly trained in medical reporting. But take the initiative and do a little research on your own, and then ask your medical people if they're really that nasty. I mean, switch to somebody else. Really, you'd be doing yourself a favor. So, thanks for watching. Keeping myself well.